has now joined us with his very nice "Kindness is Cool" T-shirt. Riley Welch. Riley, how are you?
I'm doing well.
All right, you just put it on backwards. I mean, there you go. Go the other way. There it is. You know, yes, he finished college, but no, he is not able to put on a headset. But nevertheless,
Yeah.
Riley, how are you?
I'm doing well. I did finish college last night. I turned in my last assignment.
Good. Graduation this weekend, right?
Yep.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you guys
So,
very much.
listen, first of all, yes, congrats on graduation, and we appreciate you taking the time. Let me ask you, first of all, as you look back, we always like to talk to the guys who come here, and as you look back to your decision to come to Kentucky, was it an awesome experience being on the UK basketball team?
Definitely. I mean, something I really cherished the past 2 years, and it's something not a lot of people get to do or experience. And I know how much this program and this school means to people in this side of the country. I mean, all over the world, especially in Kentucky, it means something a little different. And so getting to come here and experience it firsthand was, unbelievable. And obviously this past year was a little different with, the COVID season and not having the success we would have liked. But, my first year getting to experience madness, the camp out, all that type of stuff was just, incredible. And it was a whole new side of basketball.
You were here 2 years. You came, UC Irvine, and then is it College of the Desert?
Yep, that's
right.
a
great name, by the way. College of the Desert. It's like you're in the desert and the college just perks up.
And I think it's Steven Johnson went.
That's right, he did.
Yeah, so he also transferred from COD.
So we have a pipeline.
Yeah,
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
Well, you were here 2 years, but it was an odd 2 years for Kentucky basketball. Your first year, we don't get to play in the tournament, and I think could have made a run, and then obviously everything that happened this year. Take me back to the first year. When you and the team found out you weren't going to be able to play in the tournament, was it just heartbreaking?
Yeah, I mean, I remember we were at Jeff Ruby's in Nashville, and I kind of saw the writing on the wall, and we were at team dinner, and I just I don't think we're going to get to play another game this year, and guys were disappointed. But then it wasn't until the next day at shoot-around at Bridgestone Arena when Cal called us in and told us, on the court, that the SEC tournament had been canceled. He said, hopefully the big tournament is still going to be played, referring to the NCAA tournament. He's like, but I don't know. And then we were on the bus back because our plane wasn't scheduled to leave until Sunday. So we were driving back to Lexington, and that's when Cal, was on the call with a lot of the leaders of the college basketball, and that's when we officially found out we weren't going to have a tournament, and that was really sad. And it was more so that team just got along so well and loved each other so much. It was tough knowing that was kind of the last time we were really ever going to be together as a team. And so a lot of guys went and played pickup and just, had one last time hooping together, and then everyone kind of went
I heard about that. That's kind of a neat – that's almost like in a movie. You have the one last time playing together. Well, one of the reasons we wanted to bring you on is you wrote – I thought you did an amazing job writing in The Athletic about the year. And it's easy for us on our side to focus on, well, they went 9-16 and the games were struggling. But you guys went through so much more. Let's just start with what it was like daily to go through all the COVID protocols and all that. Tell people, for people who don't know, what was it like just to, on a daily basis, be a part of the team and be at UK during that period?
So first off, I want to thank all the people in the Kentucky athletic department who made it possible for us to have a season this year. And, Jeff Satin, our head athletic trainer, did an unbelievable job coordinating, and his job became a lot more difficult this past year with COVID, and he did a great job and helped us out a lot. But, the first thing you had to do before, 7 a.m. every day was answer a questionnaire on, a COVID screening test to see if you could even come in. You had to take your temperature. Did you have
every day before 7 a.m.?
Yeah, you had to. Those were, your symptoms.
I'm already out.
Yeah.
I'm done right there.
And so it was just, a lot of, I didn't have class, in person a lot of times or later in the day, so I wouldn't even have to wake up until 10 if I didn't want to most days. But I had to, get up early, answer the questionnaire and go back to sleep. And then a lot of times we tested 3 times a week for COVID. And so that was always very worrisome because you didn't want to be the person who tested. Even you could do everything right and still test positive.
Weren't you all, forced to pretty much stay there?
So, yes. So we were under pretty, we knew we wanted to have a season. We wanted to play games. We didn't want it to get shut down. So I was the only person who didn't live in the lodge this year. I lived off campus. I lived by myself in an apartment. So it was a little bit different for me. But basically the guys on the team kind of just went back and forth between the lodge and the locker room for the first, from August to November 25th.
See, I mean, that's like not even a UK experience at all. I mean, for some of those guys, especially the freshmen, I bet it was like they didn't even feel like they were in college, right?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a college experience at all for any of us. We couldn't even see our friends on like the other sports teams. That's how strict it was, and that's how it had to be. It wasn't nothing. It wasn't anyone's fault. It's just that's what it was. We wanted to have a season, and those were the sacrifices we had to make this year, which sucks. It wasn't fun. And it was something we had to go through, and I felt so bad for all my freshman teammates who had never gotten to experience that before and never got to understand what campout's like, what madness is like, what the blue-white scrimmage is like, and playing in front of a full Rupp Arena is like.
Yeah. Talking to Riley Welch, I know these other things are going to be hard to talk about, but let's start with the passing of Ben Jordan. Not only was he your teammate last year, you were really friends with him. Mm-hmm. I mean, you and Dante, and what was the name of the group you all called?
So Robes nicknamed us the Fun Bunch. That was the nickname he gave us.
So talk to me about when you heard about it, what happened, and just what that was like.
Yeah, so I come into the facility early the day we played Alabama to just lift and work out on my own. And I got a text from a close friend of mine who he originally asked if I had any tickets for the game later that night. And then he said, I'm so sorry to hear about Ben. And I only really knew one Ben. And it's like my mind, I didn't know what he was talking about. I didn't know, what to do really, but I just, got that sinking feeling in my stomach. I only really knew one Ben, and it was Ben Jordan. And so the way I get my news is Twitter. So I just opened up Twitter and typed in Ben Jordan. I was like, hoping there wasn't going to be anything about him. And that's when I found out, and I called Brennan and asked him if he knew, because we were all really close. And it was just really, really tough because, Ben was just one of the best people. Everyone loved being around him, and me and Brennan had spoke to him on New Year's Eve, and we were supposed to go get dinner and hang out and try and enjoy life a little bit together, and never even got the chance to, unfortunately.
I can't imagine what that was like, but you're also trying to process it kind of in the middle of a season. But so young, for people who he was the guy, I think for a lot of fans who he was the tall guy that came from the baseball team. Maybe they didn't get to know him. What should people know about him and his life?
I would say he was the best brother to his sisters. Like when I say the best brother, like to his sisters, they loved him, adored him, looked up to him, and he cared about them and protected them so much. And he truly loved his family. And that's something that always sticks with me about him. And then also just how good he was to everyone. Ben was just a really nice, genuine person who loved people. Never hurt anyone, never was mean, never was rude. He was always a lot of fun to be with. Like, as a walk-on, guys who don't play, there's a lot of times where we're not doing a whole ton. And so with Ben, he just made things more interesting, more fun. He was a joy to be around, and I got really close to him over the course of the years. Like, anything social I did in my first year here, I didn't know a ton of people, so I'd be someplace and, I'd be at a party and I'd see Ben, and I just felt at home. I'd go give him a hug and I'd say, Benny, and, we'd talk and catch up, and he made life like that for a lot of people.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. We were in his hometown not that long ago, and you could tell how important he is to people. So I appreciate you honoring him. We're going to take a break. When we come back, talk more with Riley Welch. We are here at KSR, this is Kentucky Sports Radio.
To talk to Matt Jones and the crew, call the Clark's Pump and Shop phone line at 502-571-1080 or 1-877-904-1080.
You're listening to Kentucky Sports Radio on Talk Radio 1080.
Welcome back, Kentucky Sports Radio, 502-571-1080. Text machine 772-774-5254. One person writes, Riley, how many nose swabs do you all think you did during the season?
Oh, man. I'm bad at math, but 3 times a week times however many 6 months is.
That's a lot of nose swabs.
Yeah, and then, before the SEC tournament, there was one every day. It was a lot, and it was not very much fun.
I'm sure that's true.
Yeah.
All right, so we only have about 10 minutes left. I want to make sure to hit a couple of these things. I was sitting in here watching the women's volleyball game when I got the text message about Terrence Clark. I can't imagine what that was like for you guys, but walk me through it.
So when I found out about TC, I had heard there had been rumors throughout the day that, about TC and BJ being in a car accident. And I'd been off social media for the last week. So I was visiting my sister in Washington, D.C., was kind of oblivious to life in Lexington. And I was taking a nap, and I got a call from Keon. And I could just tell in his voice something was off. Like, usually when he calls me, he opens up by, like, joking or, just, lighthearted. And he seemed very serious. And I asked, like, if something was wrong, and he told me TC had passed away. And I just couldn't believe it, It's been a tough last 4 months. Losing two guys you see every day for, a year is really hard to fathom, especially Terrence, didn't even reach his 20th birthday. And, such a bright person with such a bright future ahead of him.
He seemed like, to me, like just a joy. I mean, I know there were playing issues and all that. Put that just as a human being. He always seemed like he had such energy. We didn't get to know these guys because of COVID this year, but it seemed to me he was like that.
No, Terrence was definitely that way. I mean, he had this, like, unbelievable charisma about him where he made everyone he spoke to feel like his best friend. Me and TC weren't especially close. Like, I saw him every day. Every day he'd see me with, he'd call me Mr. Welch. And he'd just say, Mr. Welch, how you doing? And, give me a hug, and he just, that big smile, and he was just fun to be around. When Terrence away from basketball just loved life. He just wanted to enjoy things. He wanted to spend time with people he cared about. And, that's what I'll remember about him. Just, we spoke more the last month and a half he was here. And he was just, he just seemed happy. And he was just taking advantage of his opportunities, and he was really broken up about not being able to play, but he still came in with a smile on his face every day. He'd do his rehab while practice was going on. He'd talk to you and make you laugh, and it was just he's just a good person and with a good heart, and he had so much left to give.
Well, part of the reason we wanted to have you here is you wrote in The Athletic about what it was like to go through this year, and I've said for a while, certainly since I've been following this had to be the toughest year for Kentucky basketball all the way around. Tell me what it's like in that locker room. Could you obviously you're losing, that. But could you feel the criticism? Could you feel the fan base? What is it like to actually go through it on the other side?
Yeah. So you definitely feel it. And it's a little different for me because, I wasn't in the rotation. I don't play. But the guys who did play and, who play a majority of the minutes, like, they definitely feel the criticism. And you do what you can to not let it get to you, but it's tough.
Do they hear it?
They definitely hear it. I mean, even you can do, but they also know, if they're playing well or poorly, so then there's no one, them playing poorly affects no one else more than it affects themselves. And they want to play well for themselves, for their teammates, and for the University of Kentucky, for the fans. And just this year was like, they understand if you play poorly, you're going to get criticized, and everyone accepts that. And they're, no one's mad about it. Like, that's what you sign up for when you come to Kentucky. You get treated like a superstar. You get a lot of things going for you, but you also have a fan base that's highly passionate, loves their athletes, but it also can be critical at times when we're not winning. And that's what's the expectation here is national championships. So we all knew, 9-16, is not okay. Like, that's not Kentucky basketball. That's not what we do here. But at the same time, the guys were anywhere from 18 to 22, and they were, working their butts off, trying their hardest, and it was just a really difficult time. There are a lot of reasons.
Well, let me ask you, why do you think you just look at the talent, you go, that team should have been better.
Yeah.
Do you think you all should have been better? Why do you think it happened?
Not to make excuses, but this was kind of the perfect storm, in my opinion, of things going wrong this year. And just unfortunate timing with COVID, no summer. Like, we weren't allowed into our locker room until about a week and a half before our first game. So, we were literally, like, have our shoes changed, like, in Joe Kraft, socially distanced to try and maintain games. And then, 10 new guys, Keon being the only guy coming back, and him not playing until, January 6th. That was tough. It was just kind of the perfect storm. And I think in a normal year, this team would have had much more success. But, everyone had to deal with COVID this year. So we're not making excuses for why. We know we could have been a lot better. And, you live with what happened. But, I know Cal and the coaching staff and the guys that are coming back aren't going to let that happen again.
Up here. I actually have a two-part question.
Well, you were really prepared for that one. But go ahead.
I'm looking at this year's roster, Riley. I don't see any point guard. So my question to you, do you have any eligibility left, one? And if not, what are you going to do? What's next for you?
So I actually, due to COVID, I do technically have an extra year.
Oh, that's right. He could come back.
Well, I tell you what, I think there's a spot for you right now.
Yeah, so don't get me wrong. I would love to come back. But if not, I'm going to try and get into coaching. So, my dad's coaching the NBA for the past 15 years, so that's kind of always, been my dream, what I've wanted to do. So if I can get a, internship, low-level job with an NBA franchise, G League team, that's the path I'd love to take. If not, possibly be a GA somewhere, just trying to figure that stuff out.
Have you heard, how's BJ Boston? I know, him having to pull up on that scene right after it happened, I can't imagine what that's like.
To be honest, I haven't spoken to BJ. I saw him at the funeral. We didn't really speak. I hope he's doing well. He's a great kid, and I can't imagine, what he's going through. He and TC were, as close as they come, and so, it's a really tragic and awful situation, and something I wouldn't wish on anyone. But, I know Coach Cal flew out there to be with him and to support him, and he knows everyone in the Kentucky community has his back. But healing takes a long time, and so I just hope he can find peace. Yeah, me too. On a completely separate note, I'm going to put him on the spot here. I know you're big buddies with Keon Brooks. Mm-hmm. Is he coming back? I haven't spoken to Keon about that. Well, you did work out with him today. I did work out with him today, but I have not. Me and Keon haven't had that conversation. Keon's never given me any indication that he's not coming back. He's never said anything about transferring. He hasn't declared for the draft yet. So I see a lot. I see the stuff on Twitter and Instagram about Keon not coming back. To me, if he doesn't say, I would assume he's coming back. All right, well, that's good. Yeah, isn't that good to hear? I think that's great. Sources say Keon Brooks leaning towards coming back. No, don't. I'm kidding. Don't hold me to anything. Riley Welch said. Riley Welch, let's see, at Riley_Welch says, will you look back at your 2 years, just got a minute left, as a positive time here in Lexington, even though you went through 2 very difficult years? Yeah, I made some great friends here. Got to learn from a Hall of Fame coach. Everything Cal did for me these past 2 years. I can't thank him enough. You still feel like Cal? There's some people who are like, oh, I don't know, is Cal still as motivated? I bet you probably think he is. I would say Cal. I've only been around Cal closely for the past 2 years, but I can't imagine Cal being any more motivated at any point in his life. I know he wants to right the ship after what happened last year, and I have complete faith in him to get this program competing for national titles very, very soon. Well, Riley, thank you very much. If you have not read his article, it's on The Athletic. Did it with Kyle Tucker. You definitely should check it out. It's a really good insight into how this season went. I wish you nothing but the best of luck. You seem like an awesome young dude, and I sound like I'm 80 years old. You seem like an awesome young man. Young fella. You seem like a good young fella. But seriously, I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you guys so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Riley.